Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, fuck everybody, just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Come here, baby. Look at here, you getting distracted again. Hello, somebody, man. Come on now. You got dreams to chase. You got goals to accomplish. You got some stuff that you got to do. You got some shadow work to be working, baby. I understand that, baby, honey. We got things to do, not no people to impress. Stay focused. That's right. Yeah. We don't care what they thinking, what they feeling, what they talking about. It ain't about impressing them. It ain't about showing out for them. This right here, this personal. Your comeback personal. Your healing personal. Your growth is personal. You got to stay focused. You cannot afford to get distracted. Come on now. Get on back in alignment, baby.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, good morning, YouTube. Let me get my chair back up. Hold on. There we go. Sorry. Chair issues. If you guys remember, we have chair issues. Anyways, good morning. Happy Tuesday. I hope everybody is doing great this morning. We've got a couple different things going on here. So I'm just going to say a blanket good morning to everyone. We're not going to spend too much time. I have a dental appointment this morning. And so we're going to be getting in and getting out this morning, getting in and getting out. Listen, I had pulled all this information from the internet, I don't know, some time ago. And there's a couple things. Batteries. Christine, Valerie. I got batteries, and I'm sorry. I got them a few days ago. It might even have been a week ago. And I forgot to come on here and tell Valerie, thank you. I'm thinking that's the name. I don't have the card, but I just wanted to give a shout out to Valerie. Anyways, we're going to go over a couple things. We're going to get to Bryan Coburger. We have some more documents that were dropped yesterday. I had been looking at the website. I check it several times a day. I checked it Sunday night. I checked it early Monday morning. Even after we were wrapped up here yesterday morning, I checked it after 2 because I find that after 2 is when they upload documents, nothing. And I was working here until probably, 9:30 last night, sitting right here at this very desk until 9:30 last night working. And I decided just to go on Twitter just to see if there's any updates that I needed to know about before I called it a night. And I started seeing all these documents. And I'm like, wait a minute, I checked the site. I didn't see anything because had they came in earlier, I would have went live with them, right? No big deal. Well, they ended up coming. So I saw these documents about 10:30 at night, obviously entirely too late for one of my lives. So I decided to pull it off and wait until this morning to discuss. But before we discuss that, we have several different cases. I had pulled these videos several days ago about this, what is perceived like a family annihilator. We equate family annihilation to, say, Alec Murdaugh, where he gunned down his wife and his son. Well, this is a similar story. So I had just prepared the video this morning. I was going to drop it, and I figured, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put it up here for my audience to see, and we're going to discuss it. This is a sad case, and it's from a legendary baseball player, Hall of Famer baseball player, his family, his son. Talk about ruining a legacy, much like Alec Murdaugh. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and put it up for you guys now. I hope you enjoy it. It's just a little 3-minute video that I was able to put together this morning.
Detectives carrying out bins of evidence from this home on Phillips Road in New Bedford. The Bristol County DA's office says the man who lives here, 54-year-old George Scott III, killed his 8-year-old son before taking his own life.
Good morning, all. Bullhorn Betty here. Happy Tuesday. It's wonderful to see each and every one of you this morning. This is a case that I was covering a few days ago and had not had an opportunity to put together the video. And during some of my research this morning, I saw that Jennifer Coffendorfer was discussing this very case. And I thought maybe now would be a great time to put together this video. This is really sad. This particular case is from a legendary baseball player, his son, and his grandson. In 2019, the baby's mother disappeared. And just recently, they executed a search warrant on the residence here. And then this fateful day happened. Check it out.
The manners of death were not released.
Tragic. Just absolutely tragic, senseless.
The DA's office says Scott was a person of interest in 28-year-old Lisa Hazard's disappearance. Hazard was last seen in this house back in 2019. The two share a son together, whom police confirm was killed today in this murder-suicide, but aren't releasing his name.
And no, he was playful. He would, run around the property and throw the ball around with his dad and stuff. And can't even believe it.
Police were here 3 weeks ago executing a search warrant at this home in connection with that missing persons investigation. Neighbors saw the police.
Saw there was an unusual collection of police cars, but because I saw looked like they were taking a vehicle away, I thought maybe it was a repossession and a difficult situation.
Now everyone wondering what exactly happened here and thinking of that innocent 8-year-old in the middle of it.
It's troublesome that something like that would happen. It's very sad.
Senseless. Senseless.
So there you have it, folks. We're not going to go ahead and get into all that. I just wanted to make sure that you guys got an opportunity to see that video. It just dropped, or it hasn't dropped yet. It will be dropping here shortly. A few other things coming in is a sting out of Polk County, our beloved Grady Judd. As many of you guys know, I am a major Grady Judd fan. He is, in my opinion, America's sheriff, and he does such an amazing job. He has been in this position, one of the longest standing sheriff positions, I think, in Florida history. I know in 1992, my uncle grabbed that for the chief of fire departments in 1992 as the longest standing in Manatee County history, but I'm pretty sure Grady Judd takes the cake in Polk County. Either way, this is related to a Disney employee, and I like exposing this stuff because I think that, I used to go to Disney a lot as a young child. I'm not sure if this type of stuff happened back in my day. I'm sure at points it did, but I'm seeing this more and more with Disney employees where we're finding out that they are preying on our children. And some of these have high power positions inside Disney. Some are the ones that actually play with our kids. So I'm having very much, and many of you know, very much disdain for the Disney and Disney culture. And this is now like their third or fourth or fifth or sixth or 20th employee that has been caught in a sting, and it's kind of disgusting if you ask me. Just be careful.
Work at Disney because that's where the children are.
Imagine that.
And they want to be around children.
Imagine that.
He had 540 counts of child pornography. From newborns to 8 years of age. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. I know that my number one priority at the sheriff's office is for all of us to protect the community and specifically our children, which are the youngest.
That's why we love ourselves
vulnerable.
some Grady Judd, baby.
My detectives are simply the very best, and they've been at work again. Today we're going to.
They are so good that people all over our country reach out to this very sheriff in helping set up their cyber crimes unit. This man is so effective, literally so effective. Even people, even sheriffs, even police departments from California reach out to this man for assistance in helping in certain cases. He is a very powerful man across this country. Who would have ever thought that some sheriff in this small little place called Polk County, a little stick in the mud place in Florida, would be so widely known all over the United States? It is amazing what this man does.
Talk about child pornographers. Now, I want to underscore that data tells us that if child pornographers had the opportunity, the overwhelming majority of them would, in fact, sexually batter children. So our goal is to get these folks out of circulation, get them arrested for their evil deeds. And what we're going to talk about today, I think you'll agree, is evil deeds before they have the opportunity to victimize children in person.
Exactly.
Why do I say that? Because anytime you buy, sell, trade child pornography and view it.
Sorry, I just hit something and I didn't mean to. I was trying to get over here to pause this and I didn't do very well. Anyways, I just want to say that, a lot of people think that the pornography aspect of this crime is harmless. Those children were harmed in the making. It is disgusting to own, hold, possess, or anything, any type of material like that. It is ungodly. It's not morally sound. These are children. Let our children be kids. Let our children be kids. These twisted freaks, these are the people. I have a lot to say when it comes to our criminal justice system. I have an enormous amount to say. But these are the types of crimes of the individuals that I truly believe need to be locked behind bars. People that prey upon our children, I do not find redeemable in any stretch of the imagination, because if they were redeemable, they would never have done this to begin with. Normal people don't know and don't want to know, right? Normal people don't want to know what the sensation, what the whole illusion is related to this type of crime. We don't know. We don't care. We love our children. We want our children to be children and to be safe. These people are freaks and they deserve to be behind bars.
Pornography is re-victimized.
And look at these people look like creeps. As a grown woman, there is no way any of these men would ever in a million years be something that I would have anything to do with. And most women probably wouldn't. Just saying.
Underscore today that even though we seized 1,276 images.
That is awful.
Of
just
horrible,
awful,
frightening child pornography.
That is just really ridiculous.
In this particular operation, we did not identify any victims that we could rescue.
It's hard to understand that they can't identify any victims that they can rescue, but getting these monsters off the street at least help the cause.
And that's our primary goal. 1,276. That was
1,276 images. Those are the creeps. I just wanted to let you know, I'm not going to go too much into this, but there are monsters that live among us. These are some of them. We watch Grady Judd week after week after week after week do these same types of stings. And the fact that he keeps getting people is amazing to me. If they haven't learned yet, some of these people he's arrested several times. And that is the most bizarre thing to me, that you already know you're playing with fire and you still can't control yourself. You still can't control yourself. It's just, it just shows you how sick these people are. Another part of the news, we started covering this case, haven't really covered too much of it. We watched the initial beginning of Adam Montgomery's gun trial. This is Kayla Montgomery. You can tell she's sober. She appears like she's in jail, even though we knew she was out. She had gotten a plea deal to get out. And based on her outfit here, it almost looks like she's still in, but this could just be an outfit. It's hard to believe the photos that we've seen of this woman, plastered across YouTube, social media, mainstream media, of her like half dead, picture. And then you see this picture and you can tell she's a sober Kayla Montgomery. And, she looks healthy at this moment. We've seen photos of her where we know that she's a very sick woman. She's got a lot of problems. She's got a lot of illnesses and predominantly a major drug problem. Again, she looks healthy and elusive, cognizant here. But I just wanted you guys to hear a little bit about this. This is, and again, an hour and 20 minutes. We're not going to take an hour and 20 minutes to listen to this, but we're going to pop around in here so you guys can be updated here on the case related to Adam Montgomery. If you don't know, or you're scratching your head and you're like, well, Adam Montgomery sounds familiar, but I don't quite remember it. It's Harmony Montgomery. Harmony Montgomery is a little girl that disappeared in about 2019, but she really wasn't reported missing until like 2 years later. And by that time, nobody knew where she was. Her mother, she was removed from her mother's custody. Her mother was a drug addict. Her dad was a drug addict. Her dad was in prison for violent crimes. He has been, he's being looked at as a person of interest in a couple homicides, I believe. They never, it took almost 2.5 years before she was finally identified as deceased. And then shortly after that, they arrested Adam Montgomery. His brother basically told law enforcement that he witnessed him abusing Harmony. It's a very sad case. Harmony already had a lot of things in her that weren't going in her favor. When she was brought into this world, her mother being on drugs, her dad being on drugs, she was already blind in one eye. She was just a precious little girl that just didn't deserve what she got. And we all scratched our heads wondering how in the world she even wound up in her dad's custody. We looked into the investigation, into that, investigated that aspect of the case. And it sounds like the courts just majorly dropped the ball. And then the Department of Children and Family Services further dropped the ball. And despite many attempts to try to locate Harmony, her father was saying she was with her mother, and her mother was saying, I don't have her, but nobody was really listening and paying attention that this child was missing. It took 2 years to finally realize that she truly was gone and was not coming back. And then it took another, like I said, 6 months to a year to find out she was deceased. And then, of course, Adam Montgomery is in jail right now for her death. However, this particular case has nothing to do with Harmony Montgomery. Adam Montgomery was originally charged on gun charges for possessing a gun by a violent felon. And this is his trial of that. And apparently they brought Kayla Montgomery onto the stand related to her estranged husband. So here it is. We're just going to listen to a little bit of it, and we'll move on. I've got a couple more things, and then we'll get into the Bryan Coburger stuff.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Kayla. My name's Caroline Smith. How are you?
That's his attorney.
I'm good. Okay. I have some questions to ask you about what you just testified to.
Good morning,
first,
everybody.
I want to get a bit of a timeline.
Nice to have you here. Don't forget to hit the like button.
You were arrested and incarcerated on charges in January of last year, right?
Yes.
That was 2022, right?
Yes.
And when you were incarcerated in January, and that was the welfare fraud that you referred to?
Yes.
And you were not able to make bail at that time, right?
Correct.
So you were incarcerated for a couple of months.
Yes.
And around April 13, 2022, you were arrested for receiving stolen property regarding the guns at the Fran residence, right?
Yes.
And you were still incarcerated at that time, right?
Yes.
And then you were not guilty of those charges, right?
No.
And you intended to fight those charges, right?
Yes.
And in fact, you were moving towards a hearing to fight the charges very early on in court, right?
Yes.
And before that hearing, or I think the hearing was postponed because you reached an agreement with the state on bail to get out, right?
Yes.
So that hearing was called a probable cause hearing, right?
Yes.
To see if the state had enough evidence to hold you or to actually charge you, right?
Yes.
And you didn't have that because you got the agreement on bail.
Yes.
And you did not, the guns involved, by the way, were receiving receiving or retain the property of another, a shotgun belonging to CF, which was, you knew to be Chris Frayne, right?
Yes.
Knowing it had been stolen or believing it probably had been stolen with the purpose to deprive Chris Frayne, right?
Yes.
And you got a second charge that was pretty much the same thing except for referring to a rifle.
Yes.
And you did not receive a shotgun that belonged to Chris Frayne. Is that right?
Correct.
You didn't retain a shotgun belonging to Chris Frayne. Is that right?
Yes.
You didn't receive a rifle belonging to Chris Frayne, right?
Right.
And you didn't receive retain a rifle belonging.
You can kind of tell by the way she's blinking, in my opinion, that they've got her medicated. So even though she's obviously sober, she's medicated on something to help her with her, withdrawal symptoms, in my opinion, because I'm looking at her and she's got long blinks. That's really indicative of some kind of, something. So they've got her medicated. And I'd most likely have her medicated inside the facility so she doesn't have withdrawal symptoms, which can be really brutal and cause a lot of problems for people like in jails and things like that. Not only for the inmate, but also for the guards, So I just wanted to point that out to you guys.
Belonging to Chris Frayne, right?
Yes.
You didn't possess any of Chris Frayne's guns, right?
No.
You didn't control any of Chris Frayne's guns, right?
Yes.
And in fact, you didn't touch any of Chris Frayne's guns, right?
Yes.
And you were charged with that anyway, correct?
Yes.
And you were out on bail based on your agreement with the state and didn't go forward with that hearing. So the bail then was $5,000 personal recognizance, right?
Yes.
And what that means is you don't actually pay up $5,000, right?
Right.
You don't actually have to pay any cash, right?
Right.
It is just a promise that you'll follow the conditions or they can hold you on the $5,000, right?
Yes.
And so you made a promise with them to follow certain conditions of bail, right?
Yes.
And that agreement was made on May 6th. Does that sound right to you?
Yes.
And you got out on May 6th.
Yes.
So you had been in from January, February, March, and April, and then got out on May 6th.
Yes.
And on June 3rd, you sat down with police.
Jennifer, God bless you.
To talk to them.
Good morning,
right?
by the way.
Yes.
And you sat down with police of your own free will, right?
Yes.
That you had.
I keep wondering, is she like, I have a funny feeling she is, the defense's witness. I don't know, it started out in the first person talking was the defense attorney. So it sounds like they're moving through this trial process pretty quickly. If she truly is the defense witness, that means that they've already closed. I haven't been following this case. I've been doing other things. I've been extremely busy. Like I said, I was working here until like 9:30, 10 o'clock last night, right here in this very spot. But either way, it seems like she is a witness for the defense that she's taking up, trying to help her husband. I don't know if that's from the years of abuse, because we know that he was abusive toward this woman as well. And I would hope that, she has an opportunity to have a voice. And I would really hope that she doesn't squander that opportunity. But who knows? She very well may. She very well may. Sounds like it.
The services of an attorney, right?
Yes.
And that attorney was actually there when you sat down with the police, right?
Yes.
And he was there to help you if you needed it, right?
Yes.
And you were on bail when you went there, right?
Yes.
But while you were there talking, or actually that morning, probably earlier, you were charged with the perjury charges that you talked about, right?
Yes.
And so you stayed in jail for a couple of more days, but you got out a few days later on bail again, right?
Yes.
And
Poor me.
On June 20th, this was after you talked to the police on June 3rd about those gun charges and what you said happened, right?
Yes.
And on June 20th, after your June 3rd conversation with police, you actually got indicted on receiving stolen property, right?
Yes.
The difference was the first charge was just the police writing up the charge and serving you and holding you. But on June 20, after you talked to the police, overruled, a grand jury, well, your
Looks like
case
that's what
was
she's
presented
wearing.
to a grand jury and you got indicted, right?
Now that I see what she's wearing when she lifted her arms, it's a shirt, not a. So it seems like she dressed herself like this. So it seems like she's still having some issues here because, in all fairness, I mean, she looks presentable, but she's not wearing what I would expect her to wear for court. Okay. Let's be honest. I kind of expected her to be in at least a blouse as opposed to a t-shirt. But nobody in this entire story, there's not going to be a whole lot of witnesses and things that are pristine in this case because all the witnesses are going to be drug addicts or past drug addicts or whatever it may be, law enforcement and drug addicts. That's what you got here, and they're going to be on both sides, like even the one guy that we watched the first day, he had the trap house basically, and the crazy part was there was children in it. This is insane. We wonder what's going. It's these drugs. They're just it's killing people, man. It's destroying families. Even if the people survive, I mean, look at the destruction. Those children are going to be exactly the same way. They have no future, and that's the part. The bad part about this is those kids. Even that guy that was the witness for the state that liked to talk a lot. The first day that we covered it. The first day that we covered it, he had children in that house, and what kind of life are they going to have? I mean, growing up, that's what they're accustomed to. They're desensitized to that. They think that's okay. Remember when I told you about my childhood, how, don't get me wrong. My childhood, I had a decent childhood. It's just when it was bad, it was really, really bad. I don't know how to explain it other than that. It was just really bad. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I got of age and started, going over to friends' houses and realizing, these types of things didn't happen in their house. I was very curious too, because I'm like, your parents don't fight? And they're like, oh no, I've never heard my parents argue before. And it's like, not every house was like that. Of course my parents argue. I've heard them have, get loud, but that's about it. It's 5 minutes and they're done. They didn't have fights like that went on in my home. They didn't have those types of, I didn't know. So you think it's all normal until you get older. But by that time, in mine was, fights between my mom and my dad. This is watching people use and abuse, at what point are you curious where you try it yourself? At what age is that? Is that, 7? Is that 14? You see where I'm going with this? And it's just this vicious circle that never ends. And we hear some cases which make us sick to our stomach, where we hear, a parent and a child, using together, and it just turns our stomach, and we wonder how in the world that could happen. Well, this is how it starts, them desensitizing these children while they're using. Both households had children. Their household had children. The guy that they hung out with's house had children. All these children, and there's no possible way of keeping this type of activity, away from the children. The children had to have witnessed this stuff. And that's what is so scary to me, quite frankly.
Yes.
And you had not given the police any information on June 3rd that you received a shotgun belonging to Chris Frayne, right?
I don't remember.
You might have.
I said I don't remember.
Okay. Did you receive a shotgun from Chris Frayne?
I didn't know.
Okay. Did you tell the police on June 3rd that you got a shotgun from Chris Frayne?
No.
And you did not get a rifle, receive a rifle from Chris Frayne, right?
Right.
And you told them that, or your story included that you didn't receive a rifle from Chris Frayne, right?
Right.
And that you had not possessed any of Chris Frayne's guns, right?
Right.
And that you had not controlled any of Chris Frayne's guns, right?
Right.
And that you
He's
had
the
not
most
touched
believable
any of
person
Chris
ever.
Frayne's guns, right?
Well, she looks
Right.
very under.
And you
medic-
were
or
still
over-medicated
indicted
right now.
after you
Medicated.
talked to the police about all that on June 20th, 2022, right?
Yes.
And those were, by the way, the same charges that you had been served.
We may fast forward because I want to see, because this is quite a long time, and I do believe she is medicated, and I wonder how long that medication is going to last for, if we're going to start seeing her get a little more frustrated, kind of like that guy we saw that first day, if you were with me. He seemed to get a little more combative, as his testimony was going on. You could tell he was getting a little frustrated. I don't know if his medication may have been wearing off, because again, these people, I'm pretty sure they're not allowed to use, but they have other stuff to help ease the withdrawal symptoms, like Suboxone and other pharmaceuticals that are prescribed to people that have this very issue. So it very well may be something like that, but it's still a narcotic itself. And even though it's prescribed and regulated by doctors and what have you, she just seems like a very almost too mellow. She's not too excitable. She's like, yeah. I don't know how to explain it other than that. I mean, her face cover on this screen right now just kind of says it all. In all fairness,
with back in April, pretty much the same, right?
Yes.
And when you went to court or had a court date for arraignment on those charges, you pled not guilty, right?
Right.
Because you were not guilty, right?
Right.
Hey, Miss Potty Mouth, Joy, Megan, Just Deb. Hey, and me. Nice to see you.
You had told the police on June 3rd that you were near the firearms, right?
Yes.
That you were in the same room as the firearms, right?
Yes.
That at some point you knew the firearms were there, right?
Yes.
But that you were just in a drug fog and weren't a part of that whole thing, right?
Yes.
And that all you wanted was to get some drugs from what was going on that you described, right?
Yes.
And you've always said that you're not guilty of those charges, right?
Yes.
And the state dropped the charges on November 18, 2022, right?
Yes.
And that was based on the agreement that you talked about in direct examination, right?
Yes.
For the other charges.
Yes.
And
All right,
yeah,
let's fast forward and see what
I
it
think
tells
you
you.
said that the receiving. Okay. Well, you said that when you were charged with receiving, you hadn't done it, right?
Right.
And
I just fast forwarded another 15 minutes and they're still on the same topic.
Anyway, right?
Right.
And
many
so
times
you
are you gonna
wanted to
ask me
find
the
out
question?
what somebody else had said to make them think that you had received or retained. The police had received or retained. I lost myself on that question.
We're gonna see a little pan over to him in just a second. So let's listen.
But when you were charged with receiving something you knew that you had never done, and you had access to the police reports, you kind of wanted to know what people were saying about you that got you arrested on those charges, right?
Yes.
So you reviewed that discovery.
I didn't review the whole discovery.
So she's been arrested of this crime. She's saying that she didn't do it. But she didn't review all the entire discovery. Like that would be like one of the things. Like now, granted, I even in my worst days, I didn't have the type of worst days she's had. So quite frankly, my life, even the crazy parts of my life, look absolutely normal in comparison to this lady and their lifestyle. I will tell you that. And I'm talking about everything. Like this is nuts. But I don't know. This is my. We're going to move on because I got some other things I want to go over. But this is my opinion. I kind of believe that she's medicated, which is helping her control her not like subliminal body controls. I don't know, not subliminal, but your body whenever it just involuntary body movement. So her involuntary body movement is suppressed, which is a problem because when you have a suppressed, it's hard to read what they're trying to say, read their body language because their body language is suppressed. And that's the way I kind of feel here because she's kind of blinking a little long in certain spots. Her speech is very there's not a whole lot of excitement. It's just the same across the board. I don't want to say monotone because it's not monotone, but it's just there's nothing. It's just the same. There's no excitement. She's just speaking. So I have a problem with it. Do I believe she didn't know about these guns? Obviously, she was in the same room. Do I believe that she had some? I do. I just, she's out there in the streets. She's going to want to be like, oh, I mean, I can see it. I mean, I can see it. Even though they can't prove it and she maintained her innocence, it really means nothing to me because of the lifestyle she lived. Now, she could be very innocent of these crimes as she's saying she is. And she does, if I didn't know her past, she does seem believable on the stand. I'll be honest with you, she seems very believable, but it's like, I don't believe her. I don't know what else to say. I just don't believe her. In monotone as she can be, I just don't believe her, okay? I don't know why I don't believe her, but I just don't believe her. And if she's a friggin' hey, 3 Dot, it's nice to see you, love. And if she's like literally not a defense witness, she smells like a defense witness. I mean, she's trying to help the animal that killed a child. I mean, allegedly. Let's throw it out there, allegedly. So I don't know. But I don't trust her. Should we do a poll? Let me just do a quick poll. We'll do a quick poll. Let me do a poll real quick. Do you believe Kayla Montgomery out the weapons? Question mark, question mark, question mark. All right, the poll is out there in the community. Go out and take the poll. Go out and take the poll. Let's get back to this.
Okay. Just you wanted to see what people were saying that made the police arrest you, right?
Yeah, my lawyer showed me a couple of sentences in it that he highlighted, but I didn't see the whole thing.
Okay. Okay. And so you talk about taking guns to a friend's house, as you say, he said.
Let's back up here. Let's see what's right here.
He had taken them to a friend's house. Is some information too about your case that you didn't know?
Yeah.
What's some information about a case you didn't know? Well, let's go back a little bit more.
Okay, so actually that whole night is kind of a mixed up situation, right?
Yes.
Because after that night, when you learn the day that you learn the guns are in the house, and Ish and Mike and Manny are over, and Kevin O'Leary's over, but after that, you really didn't think about this case at all until you got arrested for it, right?
Right.
So that was like a one-day thing, and then you're off on other days of
she's off binging,
coming home with the kids, and then doing drugs in the evening, right?
Yes.
And that particular day was not particularly standout after it was over, right?
Right.
Okay. And for the most part, as long as you had drugs, you weren't caring what was going on around you, right?
Right.
Okay.
I think we can agree with that. All right. So that's kind of the gist of it. So she didn't know anything. She didn't see anything that was in the room, but she didn't have any part of it. You know, the standard, the standard nonsense that we hear all the time, right? I'm innocent. I'm innocent of the crime. But she was honest. I mean, in some respect, because like she admits, and I think everybody can acknowledge that they would do anything for their substances. And that's sad. Again, you know, all the kids that were affected by their use. And of course, somebody sent me this and I was watching it. JLR apparently has some breaking news, and he just happened to come up on the roster of things apparently about Dudley. Somebody sent it to me. I again didn't realize it was Jonathan, but it's Jonathan. So let's get a word from Jonathan Lee-Riches.
Dudley Ajon is wanted by authorities. Dudley Ajon is wanted by the Sullivan County Sheriff's Department. Dudley Ajon, a co-worker of Don Wells. Summer Wells case. Summer Wells been missing since June 15th, 2021. Dudley Ajon was fired by Don Wells the day before Summer Wells went missing. He's wanted.
The people that you're about to see are fugitives that we need your help to capture. These
Holy
are dangerous
crap!
individuals
He made
who
the
are on
most
the run.
wanted, Dudley
I'm Sheriff
Ajon.
Jeff Cassidy, and this is Sullivan County Sheriff's Most Wanted.
Dudley.
Our first fugitive for this month's Most Wanted is a Dudley Raymond Ajon Jr. His date of birth is 6/11/1979. He is a white male, 5'11", 200 pounds. His charges are aggravated burglary and domestic violence assault.
Sounds like the sheriff in Sullivan County is not playing. They sound like serious charges, and Dudley Ajon does.
Wow. Holy moly. You guys remember Dudley, right? Let me see if I can find, hold on a second. You guys remember Dudley? He was working with Don Wells, you know, at the time. Well, he had just gotten, according to everybody's story, and I think it was corroborated by Don Wells as well. So I do believe it, where Dudley Ajon, he was fired the day before Summer Wells went missing. But here's the kicker. We're now learning and I think Don Wells has confirmed it on another YouTube page another YouTube channel rather, that the Department of Children and Family Services were at his house the day before. And do you guys remember in the interview with Dudley that he talked about this weird behavior Don had, but he had it the day before Summer Wells went missing. Let's see if we can find that. If nothing more, you know what? I know where it's at. I know where it's at. I remember. Episode 1 and episode 2. So let's see. Here we go. We'll look at the trailer first. All right, let's look at the trailer. You guys know I love Olivia's work. I love Olivia's work, right? BFF. Okay, let's see. You guys are going to like it.
Today, we interviewed Dudley Ajon, Don Wells' ex-coworker, and he had some things to say.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get past this shit because it's not fair.
We will be interviewing him face to face. He is yet another victim of Don Wells and Candace Wells' charade.
Full interview coming soon.
I said, "Where's Don?" He said, "He's skimming the house." I said, "He's skimming the house when his daughter's missing?" I mean, he talked about meth every day. Every day he talked about meth. I just didn't understand why he was going to work when his daughter's missing. You know what I mean? Because I've never seen him that way.
So he was distraught on a Monday.
Something happened Monday morning. Jose was at Don's property, staying there before she came up missing. Grandvisits. Well, she never said a whole lot. She had this look on her face. You leave the kids inside with me and they go outside and talk. They would come to the job and they would start screaming at each other. It's about someone, not Don.
So there you guys have it. If you guys remember
I want to make it
that.
very clear that the legacy media.
Today.
And of course, we have some other stuff here. And this is the.
Getting emotional on the phone with me when he was.
Today, we interviewed Dudley Ajon, Don Wells' ex-coworker, and he had some things to say.
I love sort of shit, man, and I swear to God.
Yeah.
I don't want to get like that. I really don't. I'm so sick of even dealing with it. I'm just trying to get past it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get past this shit because it's not fair.
So Dudley Ajon was getting emotional on the phone with me when he was talking. He's going to meet us at 7. He's ready to get some stuff off his chest. We will be interviewing him face to face. He is yet another victim of Don Wells and Candace Wells' charade.
That Don reached out to me, and this is honest to God's truth.
Oh, I believe it.
While I was with Betty, and said, "You're focusing on the wrong people. It's not us. You need to talk to this guy." And I'm like, "What?" That's when people started coming to you. I personally know you're innocent. So
if I was the suspect, I believe TBI and
Exactly.
FBI in Marcus County would have taken me because I've met with them every time they ever called. TBI's been in the house, and
I want to let you guys know this was a very difficult interview to get, because this restaurant, believe it or not, was a very, very noisy restaurant. And back here, I don't know if you can see my cursor, probably not. Let me see if I can put it over here. Now you can barely see my cursor. But back here, you see the door. They had this whole place blocked off so we could give this interview. They even came in and worked their hardest to finally disconnect the speakers that were in this room because of the noise and the songs that were coming on, which were being disruptive to us taking this interview. So it was a lot of work. This restaurant worked with us. Dudley was there. He was there with his girlfriend or wife. I'm not sure if they're married. They appear to be married or common law or whatever. We knew he had problems. He didn't really lie to us about problems. He just said at this time he wasn't having them. I don't know if that was truthful or not. My understanding is his wife still is very strong that he had nothing whatsoever to do with Summer Wells' disappearance. Just because he's got these things going on now, it sounds like he's relapsed. It could, there's a lot of things that go into that. And it could also be the pressure related to this case and how people have looked at him and spoke to him and talked to him. It's, again, I don't know what's going on in his life. I can tell you based upon everything that we learned out there, he wouldn't be a person of interest in this case. Again, I digress. I'm not law enforcement. I don't know who they're looking for in this case, who they're looking at, but I have to think at this point in time, they have cleared this man. But I can't confirm that, again, 100%. So I'm going to play this just a little bit more, and then we'll move on with a few other things.
I knew the first 20 seconds I talked to him, he already lost interest.
Yeah. Why do you think they came to your house?
Well, because for one, it's their job. They have to do that. Mm-hmm. But obviously, Don Wells said that I was the main suspect. I mean, I had the state police at my dad's house at 1:30 in the morning in Churchill. The next day, he fired me on a Monday. And Tuesday morning at 1:30, I got a missed call from my dad. He's called multiple times. Something's wrong. So I called at 7 and, are you in some kind of trouble, son? They didn't even tell him what they were there for. They just was looking for me. Don Wells knew where I lived. Okay, Weber City, Virginia, and Churchill, Tennessee is two totally different places.
How does it make you feel that he's, we know that he's put your name through the mud. He's called you drug addict, all these things. How does that make you feel?
I mean, when I first heard it, it made me upset and angry because, for one, I never done anything with him, but, smoke weed.
Right.
So,
in light of this new information, let's be honest, in light of this new information, I'm not sure if I believe that statement. And the expression on his face, I'm not sure either. Okay, not sure. In light of new information, right?
Which I don't think is a crime. Is that a crime in Tennessee?
Virginia is legal.
Okay.
So it's legal in Virginia. That's where we're.
Yes, we know. We have an outfit called Dolly Vision. He's a YouTuber. He's from Virginia. He's a piner too.
Living.
Okay.
How do I feel about it?
I mean, because he said basically that you're a meth addict.
You see, the problem is Don Wells and Candace Wells knows what happened to Summer Wells. So I was in the way. When I seen him, I've never seen Don this way before. He had this look on his face like something really bad happened.
So when you say that day, what date would that be? So she went missing on that 15th when you say the Monday.
That's the 14th. The 14th. That's the day I got fired.
Okay. Let me just hold it here. Give me just a second. So June 14th, 2021. Was a Monday. Nope. What day was it? It was a Monday. So the 14th was a Monday. So he's basing this all on, and she went missing Tuesday afternoon on the 15th. Remember, she was called in. What was it? 4? Was it 4 or 6? Then they got back, and she wasn't called in until like 6 or 6:30. I can't remember. The times are getting confusing for me. I have to go back and look at my notes on the Summer Wells case, but I'm thinking it was later in the evening. So let's listen to what he's got to say.
Evening. That's the
Let's
day.
go back.
His face, like.
Hold on, let's listen to this again.
You see, the problem is Don Wells and Candace Wells knows what happened to Summer Wells. So I was in the way. When I seen him, I've never seen Don this way before. You know, he had this look on his face like something really bad happened.
So when you say that, what date would that be? So she went missing on that 15th. When you say the Monday,
that's the 14th. That's the day I got fired that evening. That's the day he said, well, he was talking about having everybody at the job and stuff. Tuesday, the day Summer come missing, I believe is what I heard. Richard Tucker and all them. But that was Monday, not Tuesday. So to me, I'm like, why is he lying about the date? You know, he was supposed to go work Sunday. He didn't show up. I worked Saturday. And Monday I go in and he's sitting on a tub like
this
head
is the
down.
day. This is what I'm talking about. This is the day before she disappears. This is an interesting story that Dudley states, and it didn't make sense at the time. But listen, the Department of Children and Family Services came that day, that Monday, that June 14th, according to Don Wells. According to Don Wells' own testimony, own statement here on YouTube. Now, he wasn't under oath, of course. But listen to what Dudley is saying here. This is a weird, and he talked about this.
And just distraught.
Yeah.
Like, and Monday I go in and he's sitting on a tub, like head down and just distraught. And I'm like, this ain't good.
So when you say a tub, where's this at? Like a job site?
At the job site.
What job site was that?
That was the one you recorded me at. Doing the drywall Saturday was. That was that job. That's the job he said, I couldn't tell what you had done that day. I put 5 buckets of mud on. She recorded me. And
Gotcha.
He got mad because I went over his work and it looked better. So he envied me. And he thought I was a threat to him. And he was going to lose his job because all he knows how to do is finish drywall.
What was the address that you got, the last job that he was working on before someone went missing?
I could tell you exactly where it was. The address, I could have looked
Okay,
at lot
well,
numbers.
we will make sure too, guys.
It was, what exit was that? Man, I get confused in the towns, but I know it wasn't Bluff City. It was close. Jonesboro. I believe it was Jonesboro. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what it was, Jonesboro.
So you got fired the day before Summer got reported missing.
Yeah, I got fired the day before the day. He looked all crazy and shit.
Who
He was
fired?
going to Jamie. He went and seen Jamie down the street from the job site. Okay, he went.
Who's Jamie?
Jamie was the guy that he said he went and talked to, you know, when Richard Tucker and all them was there. But he didn't say I was there. See, he's saying that was on Tuesday. That's what I heard, but that was on Monday. That's the day I got fired. They were all
So
there.
he's talking about an event that actually transpired that was a weird and odd behavior of Don Wells, literally a day before Summer went missing. And he has described this, and he has, and again, this was really the only time he saw Don on a job site again, because he was fired later that day. So that's why he remembers it, just like I remember clearly the exact date we were in front of Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie's house. I know the exact date because the exact date that Jonathan and my friend Heather showed up there was on my birthday. And I remember being in Fort Myers and coming back the next day, September 18th, and going directly out there. And I was there from September 18th on until Brian Laundrie was found almost to the end of October. And actually into the better part of the next year, because we were out there taking so much footage and getting measurements for videos and things of that nature. But so there you have these vivid memory points, and this would be a vivid memory point for him because he was fired that day, and then the very next day this huge event happened where Summer Wells, a child that he's seen, disappears and has never been seen from again.
Did Don fire you or Richard Tucker fire you?
Don fired.
What, like, why? Because he's like your at the time supervisor?
Well, we were partners.
And this is crazy. This is one of the reasons why I believed a lot of what Dudley said in this interview. It's because Don Wells had repeatedly said over and over again that he doesn't partner with anybody, and he has never worked with anybody where he gives them 50%. Well, listen, I also have many conversations recorded with Don Wells specifically. And there has been multiple times where he has went off about Dudley and says, you know, he wouldn't even show up for work and he was getting 50% of the business. And it was like, Don, you told me that was a lie, that this statement about being partners was a lie. And he has constantly, at least on 3 separate occasions, contradicted that and has admitted that this information that Dudley's about to say is true.
50-50.
Yep.
Okay.
Don has confirmed that, even though he said he
Yes, he put me with him.
I got him recorded.
Because I was working too many hours on the job. He wanted me to go sub because I'd make more money working with Don. He needed some help. Don was doing like maybe 1 house a month. Okay. And he put me with him. So therefore we jumped up to almost 2 houses a month. You know, we was doing a whole house, and then
Did you see him and Candace interact, or maybe even
she would come to the house. She would come to the job site.
She
Grandma.
would. And how did they interact with her? Like,
who's her?
The parents, like Don and Candace. How did they interact
They were
with
always
Summer?
fighting half the time.
They fought a lot.
Yeah, they fought a lot.
Did you ever see them abuse Summer?
I seen him, not Summer, no. But I mean, if it depends on what you consider abuse. You know,
Verbal
you're telling
abuse.
Summer go beat up Dudley and walk on the walkboard that's sitting on stairs 10 feet off the ground. You know, she's 5 years old. The walkboard's the same walkboard they had in the picture of her coming from her house down to the ground. That was her steps. So a walkboard's aluminum and they have holes. You know, it's not something a 5-year-old should walk that walkboard. And I'd be like, Don, what if she falls? This Tucker's job be going down in trouble. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have kids there.
So when you said that the grandma and Candace would come to the job
Yeah,
sites,
they come
why
there
would they
a couple
come?
of times.
Why would they go there?
One time they came there to get money. One time he had to go outside because they were fighting. I don't know what they were fighting about. But mostly they fought a lot.
When they came there, what kind of vehicle did they come in?
She drove in a Subaru.
Subaru.
Yeah, I believe it got impounded and took it away.
So they did.
5 months or something. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure.
She still has it.
For lack of payment.
Yes.
Was that the yellow
Don B
Subaru?
confirmed it.
No, yellow Subaru.
No.
No, that was yellow. I mean, that was a red Subaru.
Red
It was a Subaru Outback.
Outback?
Huh?
Subaru Outback?
Not an Outback. It was just fun. I'm like, Don, why are you driving your wife's car to work?
Now with that's the.
That sounds like the day before, because again, Dudley wasn't there, right? He wasn't there the day Summer went missing. There was some conversation about the car, but he did pull up, from my understanding, in the car at the bottom of the where his sons were when he's allegedly heard about Summer Wells. Remember, he drove home. Anyways, it's very convoluted, but we'll keep going through this, but we hear Dudley. He's now not a person of interest in this case, but he is on the run. He's a fugitive on the run. Sullivan County is actively looking to arrest him right now on a lot of horrible charges, burglary. Let's see. Let me go back here and see what his charges were. Hold on, here it is. It was aggravated burglary, domestic violence, and assault. And I'm hoping he didn't do that to his beautiful wife / girlfriend. But he definitely does not look like the same one you're looking here on the screen. So again, wow. I wasn't expecting this, right? This just happened to come to me. So let's get on to Bryan Coburger real quick. We've been following this very extensively. It's going to be a very well-known case for the better portion of the rest of our life, right? I mean, this is something that is a major case by any standard. And we are watching this case like a hawk, every little thing. Like I said yesterday, working here, I'm constantly on this docket that you saw that was just up on the screen. This one right here, I'm on here checking it several times a day, to say the least. And so there's new stuff that comes out in the Bryan Coburger case, especially with the media. We know, today's the 6th. In 3 more days, we're going to be hearing, which is going to be Friday, we're going to be hearing the state and the defense argue with the media and argue with Shannon Gray, the attorney for the Gonzalez family, about the non-dissemination orders and things of that nature. I truly believe it is my humble opinion that the non-dissemination order is going to have to be changed. It's going to have to be modified. There's not going to be the idea that it's going to stay in place as written. I don't see it. Could it? Of course it could. This judge, this is his courtroom. He can, preside over it as he deems fit. However, there is, courts above him that if there is a disagreement with parties, that there is another place to go. So I'm hoping that it's not going to be pushed up to that next stage. I'm one of these people that don't like the Supreme Court and stuff. I really think that legal professionals should be legal professionals and find a happy balance that everybody can live with. There's always give and take in everything. I don't like things going to the Supreme Court. There's a lot of reasons why I don't like it, but the primary reason is it becomes, whatever the decision is, it's permanent. It's harder to overcome, even if it's wrong. And if it's right and people and judges were utilizing a tool reasonably, and this judge happens not to be utilizing a tool reasonably, and it pushes it up to the Supreme Court, that tool might be modified so much so that it's not really a tool that the courts can use as it was accustomed to doing. And, I always believe that, legal professionals are responsible and professional and can work through the majority of the situations. And I'm hoping that be the case here. I don't think anybody doesn't want Bryan Coburger to have a fair trial. I know me personally, I want nothing more than Bryan to have a fair trial and to him to have a pit bull for a defense counsel. And we go through that a lot here on the channel about why I like him to have a pit bull. I like any defendant to have a pit bull in their corner, and it's because it's one less appeal that we have to worry about down the road. And it's part of this fair trial, the due process aspect of it. If anybody knows anything about me, I love the law. I love the way the law works. I know it's an imperfect system, but it's the best system that we have, and it functions as it should. It does take a lot if you're wrongly convicted to be let go. I do get that. And that's why I like technology this day and age, because it helps hone in on the right suspect and the right person that we need to be looking at. And so the technology in these cases are so advanced that I do believe a lot more now than once upon a time. Once upon a time, we only had blood type analysis. Now we have DNA analysis. Huge difference, major difference. We have millions and millions of people that have, say, type O plus blood, right? We have millions of people. That's what they used to be able to use. Now we have things where they can identify a person, 1 in a billion, chances of that belonging to anybody else. I mean, the advancements are so much more that it really is good. It's better science than what we once had. So I believe more. And then, of course, this forensic data. We know that we're being followed and stalked by every electronic device that we own and love, including our automobile. We know that. We're purchasing into that, So I feel like the court went all pro fair trial and weighed nothing on the right or freedom of press. Or the public, for that matter, because the press serves the public. This is a public trial. This is a public event. This is not a secret event out there. This is something that's public. So again, I don't understand why we have such pushback from the judicial, like the judges and the courts for public trials. Who cares how the public views that trial? Who cares? It's open to the public. That should be the only thing that matters. If the public wants to attend, they should be able to attend either by any avenue available that technology provides to us. And right now, technology now provides us TVs, telephones, radios, and social media. So what does it matter how the public consumes a public trial? It's public and it's there for the public. So I just don't understand a lot of this stuff, but I digress. Anyways, there's been a lot of stuff going on in this particular case, where people feel like they are wronged. I went through these particular affidavits. There's one that I like more so than everybody else's, but this is we get to hear from the news organizations themselves that have been wronged, and why they feel they have the right to intervene. I think that their standing, in my opinion, is proven. I think they do absolutely have standing in this case. They had utilized their limited rights to intervene in the Bryan Coburger case because they have been basically hindered in their ability, which is constitutionally protected. So here's some examples. These affidavits provide us a little insight and some examples of what the media has, been faced with in trying to do their job and cover this case properly, fairly, and factually. So this is the declaration of Alex Breezy in support of the motion to vacate the amended non-dissemination order. Now, Alex Breezy, I believe I can't tell if it's a him or her. I am breaking news criminal justice reporter for the Idaho Statesman. So this is an Idaho Statesman reporter. As such, I have personal knowledge and facts and statements contained in this declaration. I reported on the murders at the University of Idaho and the arrest and now prosecution of Bryan C. Coburger to provide fair and accurate reporting of information that would be valuable to the communities impacted by the murders. I asked the Moscow Police Department about the number of cell phone towers in the area where the murders at the University of Idaho occurred. The Moscow Police Department declined to answer my question, stating that it was bound by a gag order issued in this case. This is information that, if known, would not be prejudicial to this case at all. Does not put anybody's life in jeopardy. It doesn't, it's not showing investigative techniques. This is, oh, hey, crime stories. It's nice to see you, love bug. This would do absolutely nothing. This is just reporting of different aspects of the case that doesn't necessarily affect the case. So again, this is showing how they are being hindered from doing their job. And I think they did it spectacularly through some of these. Some of these were kind of blah, and I'll talk about them in just a second. So I declare under penalty of perjury and under the laws of the state of Idaho that the foregoing is true and correct. So there's the one from Alex Breezy. Oh, I didn't mean to kick that off. Sorry about that. I'll pull the next one. I think this is the one that I liked. Hold on. Is this the one I like a lot? Oh yeah, this is the one I like. This is the one that you can kind of tell broke away from the attorney's standard, cookie cutter affidavit that just said one little thing. Like this is from Law and Crime, and you can tell it's from Law and Crime. Like, they're good. I like them. I like them a lot. So this is from Anjanette Levy, right? I, Anjanette Levy, declare and state as follows. Since 2020, I have been an on-air host, correspondent, and producer at Law News, Inc., DBA Law and Crime. One of the members of the media coalition in this action and a multiple platform media company, live trial network that covers true crime, legal news, and high-profile criminal cases. I have over 20 years of experience in broadcast journalism, television production, and general reporting news coverage. I graduated from the University of Cincinnati with a bachelor's degree in communication. Over the past several decades since beginning my career in 2001, I have worked as a reporter, producer, anchor, host, and correspondent at various local news radio stations, television networks, and other media entities. I have extensively covered numerous high-profile trials in the past, including those of Kyle Rittenhouse, Derek Chauvin, I know I pronounced his name wrong, Johnny Depp, Alec Murdaugh. In 2015, I was nominated for an Emmy Award for my reporting of a missing toddler in Milford, Ohio. In November 2022, 4 University of Idaho students were fatally stabbed at an off-campus residence in Moscow, Idaho. On December 30th, 2022, Bryan Coburger was arrested in Monroe County, Pennsylvania on 4 counts of first-degree murder and felony burglary, with trial set to go forward in October 2023. 1 week after Mr. Coburger's arrest, a gag order was issued in this case, restricting investigators, law enforcement personnel, or attorneys from speaking about the case. Since the onset of this case, I have been the lead reporter covering this matter for Law and Crime. I have issued various forms of requests for information and access in order to provide fair and accurate reporting of information that would be valuable to communities impacted by the murder. Specifically, I have issued document requests, approached subjects for interview, and sought to speak with various government officials with knowledge on the matter, even for background purposes. On January 4th, 2023, my team and I issued an open record request associated with an August 2022 traffic stop for Bryan Kohberger from the Latah County Sheriff's Office in Moscow, Idaho. That still has yet to be released, and I know I've even requested that particular video and still have not received it, and received a denial with the office citing active prosecution as one of the reasons. On January 5th, 2023, our team issued a public record request for records from the Pullman County Police Department in Pullman, Washington, regarding Bryan Coburger's application, essay, and materials from his fall 2022 application for an internship with Pullman Police Department, and received a denial with the department citing an open investigation as the reasoning. The good news is the Bullhorn Betty channel was able to obtain a lot of those documents from that very request. We requested it. We stayed with it. We fought with the city of Pullman, or the Pullman Police Department, and finally got some of those documents released, which I published on Twitter as well as here. However, they never provided me the essay that has been widely discussed, that was part of the Brett Payne affidavit of probable cause for Bryan Coburger's arrest. So we're still not receiving everything that we are entitled to, but the good news is they did release a lot of it. It took a little bit of back and forth and some finessing. You know, we kept it very professional, very respectful, very courteous, and we were able to work through it. Or, you know, I was able to work through it with the Pullman Police Department. So we were able to acquire at least some of the documents from them. You know, so they still haven't fulfilled this request, obviously, as the date of this affidavit related to her request, but it seemed like they did start opening up. But like I said, it took a lot of teeth pulling to get what I got. On January 5th, 2023, our team issued a report for the booking video of Mr. Coburger from the Latah County Sheriff's Department in Moscow, Idaho, and received a denial with our office citing the court's gag order as the reasoning via email. We're also getting those denial letters. That's part of our document record request from Latah County. We have a huge document request. Again, it cost us almost $200 to acquire that. I've already paid the lion's share of that, and then they require upon final receipt the final payment for those documents. So if you guys would like to participate in that or help fund that, I've already put it on the credit card, but you're more than welcome to contribute if need be. On January 10th, 2023, I contacted Captain Dallinger of the Moscow Police Department in Moscow, Idaho, requesting to speak with either him or Police Chief James Fry regarding the general topic of patrolling in Idaho area and how they're aiming to make students feel safe on campus in the aftermath of the murders. I received a denial, and Captain Dellinger informed me that neither him nor Chief Fry were conducting any interviews due to the judge's gag order. So this is showing you how this is affected. They're not talking about stuff that will affect the case. However, this ridiculous non-dissemination order is affecting their job and affecting their job in a negative way. And they keep dragging this out and dragging this out. I'm pretty sure that the judge, I'm hoping, is going to be fair. This case that we're going to hear on Friday is going to really set the tone on how this judge and how I'm going to feel about this judge moving forward. It's not really even, you know, I'm happy with a middle of the road approach. I'm one of those middle of the road approach type of people. I always believe in any negotiation that there is a give and take. You know, if anybody is really happy at the end of the negotiation, something's wrong and you got screwed, right? So right? Everybody should be walking away feeling good and bad, right? It's like, damn, I had to give this up, but you know what? I got this, right? That's the way it should be. So it's like in this particular matter, we have two major constitutional issues. We have the First Amendment to the Constitution, which allows freedom of press, and then we've got the the Sixth Amendment, which prescribes a fair trial for the defendant. But there's not one of those. The Sixth nor the First supersede each other. They're a very balanced approach. They equal the same. So you have to have an order that meets those. So, you know, it's going to be one of those things where you have to really balance. This is not an easy task for judges. That's why they get paid the big bucks, right? That's why they have to have years of service and have a great understanding of the law before they're even selected in a position like this. I mean, you know, it is what it is. So I'm just saying that that's why this will make, it's not that I want everything to go the way I want it to go. I just don't want this going to the Supreme Court, and I want everybody I want it to be balanced. That's just what I want. I feel like the courts is all leaned on, you know, the Sixth Amendment, and I feel like the media's leaned all on the First Amendment, and somewhere between the Sixth and the First, they're going to have to come together and level the playing field for both. You know, we want to preserve the evidence that needs to be preserved, but you know, this blanket everything it can't be disclosed is not the proper approach, and it's actually an approach that is frowned upon by every law in Idaho, and jumping over or going with the most egregious and aggressive stance in it is not appropriate either. Their own laws prescribe the less restrictive approach, and they're not utilizing that aspect of it. And I think that's where their shortcomings are in the non-dissemination order. So we'll see. I really do believe that it's going to be changed, but we'll see. So we're going to go on to 10, where on January 10th, 2023, I contacted Aaron Snell, Communication Director for the Idaho State Police, to request information regarding enhanced patrols and an interview. Although I specifically clarified we can conduct the interview in a manner that does not violate the gag order, I did not receive the interview I requested. On April 24th, 2023, I contacted Kelly Ann Valoria, legal counsel for one of the surviving housemates of the students who were murdered, to request a copy of the motion to quash that she filed in response to the subpoena issued by her client, issued for her client by Mr. Coburger's defense attorney. Ms. Valoria responded by attaching a copy of the court's gag order via email and did not provide any other information. Finally, on April 24th, 2023, I filed a request to inspect or copy judicial records with the Latah County Courthouse, Moscow, Idaho. Specifically, I requested documents related to the subpoena for Ms. Valoria's client and the motion to quash regarding the same subpoena. Despite the fact that these were documents publicly filed in an open court, I received a denial written response citing Idaho Court Administrative Rule 32G15, which states documents filed or lodged with the court in camera are exempt from disclosure. These are clear violations of the law, folks. That's why she's putting them in here. That's why I said this is the one I like the most, because it was so thorough and detailed. The other ones not so much, and we'll discuss those in just a few moments as well. So she declares under penalty of perjury that the law of the foregoing is true and correct. She dated it June 2nd, 2023. So when we come back over here, there's a few of these. I'm just going to read these, gloss over some of these, because they're basically the same thing. They say, I'm an investigative reporter with blah, 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 or I'm a reporter, or I'm a news outfit, or I'm this, that, and the other. And it says, I report on the murder of the University of Idaho and the arrest, now prosecution, of Bryan C. Coburger, to provide fair and accurate reporting information and would be valuable to communicate the impacts of the murder. I asked Mayor Christopher Paris of Pennsylvania State Police whether law enforcement had launched any reviews of unsolved cases that could be linked to Mr. Coburger, and declined to answer, stating the gag order. That is from Chris. We have Erica here, and it's pretty much the same thing, but says that that they asked Moscow Mayor Art Betke, I don't know if I said that right, about how Moscow community was healing. The mayor declined to answer his question, citing the gag order. And again, that was for Erica. Morgan Romero. Remember, we were monitoring Morgan Romero for the Bryan Coburger hearing. Remember that? I was bouncing between Alex Dugan, Brian Enton, and of course Morgan Romero. So it's Elizabeth Morgan Boydston. Do I have this up here right now, or is this a different one? Okay, let me share this one. There it is. And AKA Morgan Romero, declare and state as follows. I'm an anchor and investigative reporter for KTVB news groups, such as I have personal knowledge of facts and statements contained in this declaration. It says, I have reported on the murderer. This is the same standard stuff to provide fair and accurate information, blah, blah, blah. Then it goes on. It says, I asked Gary Jenkins, the chief of police at Washington State University, and Matt Young, the communication coordinator for the city of Pullman, whether Mr. Coburger was ever offered a graduate assistant research position with the Pullman Police Department. They both declined to answer my questions, stating they were bound by the gag order. And remember, with the information that we finally did receive from the Pullman Police Department, again, it was missing the essay, it was missing the application. They cited confidentiality as reasons for not handing that over. But they also declined to answer, citing the gag order. But this is, again, where did I go? I had one train of thought and I lost it, and I apologize. I had one train of thought and I lost it. Way to go, Betty. Way to go. But either way, we'll get back to it and I'll think of it again. And this is Sally. And it says basically the same thing. And she says, I asked Moscow Police Department about the size of Moscow County Jail and the size of Mr. Coburger's cell. The Moscow Police Department declined to answer, stating the gag order. So these things have nothing to do with the court case whatsoever. And they are being prevented from, finding out information to report. They're being hindered in doing their job. And it's of stuff that makes no difference about his fair trial. And I think that that's what's being notated in here. And this one here is from Taylor, which is basically saying they submitted public record request to Latah County Sheriff and Moscow Police Department. My record request was denied because of the gag order issued in this case. It doesn't say what type of record request, but either way, if it's at the Moscow Police Department, I will have a copy of that. And they're going to be having some motion for request of release jury information, jury material, and also to make records available for the grand jury. That's going to be happening on June 27th at 1:30 in the morning. So lots of stuff going on. These are the affidavits and the grievances of the media. And as you can see, based upon all the questions asked, none of it really had anything to do with the court hearing itself, the trial, or the fairness of his trial. The information that I read in these affidavits would not put anybody's life in jeopardy, did not have any or prove any investigative techniques or anything of that nature. So this stuff is really being, everybody's saying they're throwing the gag order as the catch-all for everything in violation of law. Hey, Jazz King, nice to see you. Nice to see you. So I'm going to go ahead at this moment and I'm going to open up the phone lines just very quickly. I don't know how much time I'm going to take on the phones, quite frankly, but I do want to open the phones up because I want to gauge my audience. Do you feel that Bryan Coburger or the media is being disadvantaged by this non-dissemination order? Unfairly disadvantaged. I'm interested in your perspective. There's a lot of people that are pro. I mean, there's people in my chat that say, hey, media's gone too far. We heard just Samantha that said, some of this. I agree. I agree in part that there are social media, there's a mainstream media that is really disadvantaging this case. But you know what? It's not it's not stopping the problem. Whether they open this up or not, it's not stopping the misinformation. As a matter of fact, I feel like the misinformation is 10 times worse with the is 10 times worse with the whole non-dissemination order, because people are literally pulling stuff out of their butts. And look at Ashley Banfield and Keith Morrison with Dateline. You know, they have conflicting sources, you know, conflicting legal sources or law enforcement sources close to the case. They have conflicting sources. And that's mainstream media. And I can't imagine if mainstream media are making these gross mistakes. You know, what is everyone, you know, what are these other social media, you know, especially like I tell you, TikTok, there's a lot of good stuff on TikTok. I mean, amazing reenactments, regeneration, and just really impressive stuff that's on TikTok. But there's still a lot of misinformation on TikTok as well. For every good reporting on TikTok, there's probably about 10 that are awful, that are just awful. I don't know if we have those numbers over here. I really don't know. But I do know that for a lot of people that cover true crime, I think they really do go out of their way to make sure that the information is factual and correct about it. That's really how I believe. So I'm going to go on over to some of the other stuff that we never really talked about that I really did have an opinion on. I actually logged my opinion on a lot of this stuff and just never got around to it. And as I was working last night and going through all my notes of stuff that I needed to be doing, I came across all these notes on here and I'm like, oh my gosh, I never even discussed this with my chat or channel. And it's about why did the Idaho murder suspect stay silent instead of entering a plea? We heard a lot of people's opinions on why he stood silent. And many people brought up BTK as, you know, he also stood silent. Give me just a second. This is Betty.
Hey, Betty. Mab.
Hey, Mab. How are you, love?
Oh, it's 5:30 in the morning. I woke up in the middle of the night and ate a bowl of ice cream to soothe my horrible feeling face.
Yeah? Are you still in Florida or are you home now?
Home now.
Oh, okay. How was the rest of your trip?
It was good, but as my face comes back alive, it just gets more and more and more uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I told you about my mom and her chin. You know, she's never really regained feeling in that. So, I mean, if you're starting to get tingles and feeling, hey, God bless you.
Yeah, I think it's coming back, but it's just way uncomfortable to go through it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, my friend. I'm sorry.
Eating is really a chore, unless it's ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah, you do like ice cream. You do like ice cream. I hope I didn't spit in your ice cream too much. I'm just joking. What do you think about let me ask you, me and you kind of we have a lot of we think a lot alike. But do you like, I kind of think that the media does have a point. I mean, I'm reading through these affidavits and it seems like very inconsequential stuff that doesn't really matter at the end of the day related to this case. It doesn't look like it's going to be bombshell information that they're uncovering. I mean, they're looking for just talking points.
Yeah, the main, you know, Banfield and all those people are just clickbait.
Yeah. And I'm actually, listen to this, I'm actually kind of ticked off. Like, News Nation, you're not sponsoring or helping one bit in this claim, in this media complaint. Like, what? Why aren't you, like, you're talking about some big news organizations. Like, they're not sponsoring any of this?
No, they're just into anonymous sources and bullshit like that.
It's just I would have thought that they would have been helping. Let's see who's on here. The Associated Press, Radio, Television, Digital News Association, Sinclair Media of Boise, States Newsroom, East Idaho News, Lewiston Tribune, Washington State Association of Broadcasters, Idaho Press Club, Idaho Education News. But you know who's not on here? You don't see any big conglomerates on here. Oh wait, no. Here we go. We got the Cowles Company, the New York Times Company, ABC Inc., WP, DBA Washington Post, Society of Professional Journalism, the Seattle Times, and McClatchy Company. Those seem like the defendants, but I mean, outside of ABC, I mean, they do have the Associated Press and some big people, but why not News Nation? Fox News.
I have no idea. But they're not going to get that gag order lifted.
I don't think they're. I never thought it was going to be lifted, but I definitely think it's going to be heavily modified.
And the more I research, the more questions I have about Coburger acting alone.
Yeah, there's been some indicators here because, when I read through this, and not only that, but we read through the law for the reasons for the gag orders, and they put with specificity the numbers that they are addressing, and they didn't put all of the items that were listed in the statute. They selected the ones that went to their case, and in all of them it said may disclose confidential informant.
Yeah. I think, have you ever heard of Emma Bailey and Demetrius Robinson?
Yes.
That's getting kind of weird.
It is, but there's been so many people that said there's no major connection with those two. I mean,
but Emma was friends with the roommate that wasn't there. The one that was on the lease. And she likely was the DoorDash driver.
Yeah, because we did hear a DoorDash driver say it was a lady that had dark hair.
And then when you look at, she got pulled over for drunk driving, and you look at the King Road house noise complaint, she was there.
And yeah, there was a girl kind of hippie looking girl that was spotted in one of the cameras, but I still don't believe it's definitive. I mean, I couldn't make out her face. I couldn't make out the features.
No, but the thing on her head is very distinct.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else has that.
Yeah. Well, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, I
think this whole thing's deeper.
Yeah.
Than we all know.
Yeah, and it very well could. I mean, look, I've never been in a situation where I'm looking at a docket. You're hearing affidavits stating that there was a hearing, and you're looking at the docket and there's no notice of hearing. Like, I'm not accustomed to that. It kind of freaks me out a little bit because it's like, certain things that are required to be on the docket are not there, and they have nothing to do with the case. And I don't see how these notices of hearings aren't on these dockets, especially back in April when they were sealing and redacting a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm wondering really how much evidence they have.
Yeah. I don't know.
I was researching all day today, looking at different videos. And
it's been exhausting. I haven't done that. I've been doing some research and looking at a lot of videos, but it hasn't been related to the Coburger case. And I can tell you, it's exhausting. It's exhausting work.
It is.
So.
But I have nothing better to do than watch YouTube because my face is so whacked.
Well, I'm sorry, but you know what? I had an enjoyable time. I loved meeting you and your wife.
Yeah, I loved meeting you too.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. So I'm glad you got down to Florida. I'm glad I got to meet you in the flesh, and I really do hope you start feeling better and your face starts feeling better.
Another 4 months, I'm hoping.
Yeah, I go in today at 2. I'm gonna be doing work in my mouth.
What do you got going? Crown?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get a crown.
Oh, yeah, you said that.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. We'll see. I'll see
Good
what
luck
the
with
dentist
that.
says. My teeth they're good teeth.
What?
I said my teeth are good. I'm smiling for the camera. You can't see me.
No, I had to shut you off because I didn't want to.
Yeah, I got good teeth, but I still have dental problems, and I don't get it. It's just one of those hereditary things because I floss. Anybody that's around me can tell you how much I floss. Like I floss. There is no reason for me to have a cavity filling in my mouth. And I've always had problems, especially my molars. Like even when I was a little kid.
Talk to Mrs. Mab. There's certain people with certain DNA that just have plaque, that have different mouth, situations.
Yeah, and
it's not due to not flossing or not brushing. It's just I knew a guy who had so much plaque it was like gross.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the good news is I don't. I got pearly whites. My teeth look amazing. It's just that there's no enamel on my teeth. I had, before I lost a lot of weight, I had horrible acid reflux. And the last time I was in the dentist told me that my enamel shot. But, I have to be thankful because when I remember years ago, my family, they're like like a lot of my family out, especially out in Polk County and Grady Judd's area. I don't know them all, but they're a little country, a little wild, whatever. And I remember when my cousin, like his enamel was literally falling off of his teeth. And I thought it was like drug related and stuff like that. Now that I'm older, he swore he was not on drugs. And now that I'm older, I keep wondering because I have, horrible, my teeth are good, but I baby my teeth. They didn't.
Genetic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I gotta go back to bed.
All right. Well, you go get some sleep. I'm gonna get the last couple things done here, and then I've got to start getting geared up. Well, I got a little time. I don't have to be at the dentist until later today.
All right, love you, Betty.
Love you too, Matt. Take care and peace out.
All right, bye.
All right, bye. Our beloved, I gotta meet him and his wife. His wife is so cute. She's just a tiny little thing. She's just a tiny little thing too. They're both so nice. They're both so nice. I love meeting people. And actually, for the most part, everybody I've met. Outside of a few crazy lunatics, just about everybody that I've met in the flesh, all been nice, and I've maintained friendships with all of them. This is Betty.
Is this that Bullhorn Betty woman?
This is Bullhorn Betty. Who am I speaking with?
You're speaking to who? Who are you speaking to?
I don't know.
3 dot motherfucking day.
Oh, 3 dot day. Okay, I was like, okay, is this a troll? Is it not a troll?
No, it's
How
me.
am I going
It's
to
me.
handle this?
Hi.
Hey, Dave. How are you doing, my love?
I'm doing great. We bumped into each other, a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
But I figured, it's time to talk. How are you?
I'm doing well. What do you have to contribute to this crazy case?
You're so bright. That I have skipped out for a while, so the cases really aren't familiar to me, these new ones. And so I just, listening to you is like, I can tell you're clear and you really are on the ball. And I respect that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I try to be. I got my crazy in check today.
What's that?
I said I got my crazy in check today.
Yeah. And I got someone gifted me I'm a green team.
Oh, nice. So you got
hell yeah.
Let me go over and see it. I didn't know anybody did. I'm not paying attention to my phone. I know my mods are probably screaming at me. So we've got, Joy Swift. You might have gotten from Joy. Joy gifted 1 membership. Skittles, Only M. Oh, Sonia gifted 5 and Only M gifted it. So yeah, there's a lot of gifted memberships today. So if you received a gifted membership, say thank you to whoever gifted it to you. So that's nice.
Yes, I thank them, whoever they are. Who was it? Come on, shout it out.
So now you're officially a turtle and a coffee clubber. We need to have a turtle.
Yeah, there's so much crossover I see in the names, you know.
Yeah.
I love our community.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good when it's good. It's just awful when it's bad. And I just wish people would just stay in their lane and do their own thing. You want to talk about talk about the cases the way you want to talk about them. Quit worrying about everybody else. Lord have mercy.
Yeah. Ignore. Block.
I'm sick of the block button. Why can't people just, act right?
Yeah, it is a conundrum.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's just so many people out there that they like just their whole vibe is to tear you down.
Yeah.
So what are your plans for the Summer Wells 2-year anniversary of her missing? Are you gonna go out there and be a part of it, or are you gonna stay home and hang out?
Well, see, if I actually said anything, no matter what I say, is going to be beat up on the streets of YouTube. So I just learned to keep my mouth shut.
Well, that sucks. It does suck because you got a great voice.
Oh, thank you.
My phone kind of tripped out right there. I was gonna say you have a great voice, and you should be out there and doing your thing and be free and clear, not without any trolls. But
I said I should
What's
bring
that?
the bullhorn. Don't forget my bullhorn.
Oh, I think you could leave that at home, on that kind of occasion. Go out there. I think you should like covertly. I think you should covertly slide in and just be like, pop in there and just be like, and say hello to the masses and hang out. And I was talking to Jim, and he was like, I was like over on some people's channels where it got kind of controversial and stuff, and I was like, dude, I'm like, from the beginning of time, I was like, you got to do balloons, like helium balloons, and do like 1 hour of like every minute you launch a balloon and have them stretch into the sky, and they're gonna do that. So like, I guess near Ben Hill Road, Dolly's going to go out there with a bunch of people and launch balloons and do it. And I'm like, dude, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it'll be pretty. Well, that's good to know. But yeah, I'm actually last year, if it wasn't for the bullhorn, we would have had to scream because none of the electronics worked like they were supposed to. I brought my big speaker out there and couldn't get the microphones to work right. It kept going in and out. It was awful.
I'll tell you what, your voice doesn't need a bullhorn. When I listen to you, I like go, wow, I got to turn the volume down because you are so clear. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's not a criticism. I'm saying that you're really smart.
I've been pegged the mouth of the South from my mama since I was 18 months old. So it doesn't offend me whatsoever. I'm deaf in an ear. I'm loud. I'm obnoxious. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Show.
Right on. Hey, it was great talking to you. Have a great day.
You too.
And everyone in chat, sub up if you haven't, and hit those likes and be kind.
You're too kind.
All right.
God bless.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Peace.
Look at that. We got a call from 3 Dot Dave. Look at that. 3 Dot Dave in the house. 3 Dot Dave. So it's nice to hear from 3 Dot Dave. Don't get to talk to him very often. Don't get to talk to him very often at all. So getting back over to the whole Bryan Coburger situation, at the arraignment, at the arraignment, he kind of stood in silent. And in the article, it referred to how BTK stood in silent. We know that Bryan Kohberger studied under the professor that did the autobiography for BTK. And so people were wondering and speculating on why he stood in silence. Some people saying that it's possible that there was a plea deal being worked out behind the scenes, potentially. There's a number of things. I listened to all the perspectives. The ones that I heard didn't come up with the perspectives I had. And, it always made me wonder, everybody's talking about how uncommon it is to stand in silent. And it made me wonder if Ancy Taylor's actually learning a few tricks from Bryan Coburger. I mean, because he did study BTK, right? BTK did stand in silent. Everybody's saying, well, maybe she's doing these strategies and stuff. What if it's not her strategy? What if it's Bryan Coburger's strategy? Nobody's looking at this from that lens. Like, Bryan Coburger is a really smart guy. Did he have a contingency plan in this situation? I don't know. It's definitely, a point of conversation. It definitely is a point of conversation. And so I think when we're looking at trial strategy, does Ann Taylor, when you're an attorney, whether you're a defense attorney or a prosecuting a state attorney or assistant state attorney or yada, yada, yada. When you're an attorney, even in private practice, you are an officer of the court. You are bound by ethics and guidelines that you must follow. You never want to jeopardize your license for a client. You keep yourself professional, ethical, you keep yourself out of trouble, you don't have any complaints, you really try to be a great attorney. So part of that is you can't perjure yourself as an attorney. So if your client came into your office and said, hey, I murdered so-and-so, I murdered John Smith down the road, and you tell the attorney has issues because they can't knowingly allow you to perjure yourself. They can't put you on the stand and knowingly put yourself in legal jeopardy. That would be malpractice, in my opinion. So I always thought, because everybody's talking about a plea deal. I don't know if a plea deal is going to be for this case. I don't see I see the families being irate if there's a plea deal. Maybe not the Chapin family, but every other family I feel would be irate if there was a plea deal provided. So it always made me wonder if Ann Taylor knew something that would be unethical to knowingly allow her client to perjure himself. Could that have been the reason why he stood in silent? Maybe because she is ultra ethical and told him, don't say anything, right? Don't say anything. Don't put yourself in jeopardy, right? Now, I don't know. I've never heard of anybody being convicted of perjury for saying not guilty, right? Let's be honest. Hey, Jennifer, I see the unicorns. Let's be honest, right? But, maybe she just said there's no point in saying not guilty or guilty, stand in silent. Or again, what if it was Bryan Kohberger that's teaching Ann Taylor a few things, saying, hey, I don't want to say anything. BTK stood in silent. Why can't I stand in silent? It's going to result in the same thing anyways. They're going to say I'm not guilty, but I'm not saying anything. I'm remaining silent. I have the right to remain silent, and I'm going to utilize that right to remain silent. I think this is a very clever strategy, personally speaking. I really do. I think it's a clever, absolutely clever strategy. So I thought that was interesting with the standing in silent. Again, I know it happened a while ago. It happened a while ago, but I just never had an opportunity to address it. So, oh, we have a poll going on. I forgot about the poll. Let's see what the poll has to say. Let's see what the poll has to say. Do you believe knew about that? Okay, so it's close to a 50-50 split, but just not quite there. But people believe that she was unaware of the guns. Now, who knows? I don't know if that's true, how you guys feel, but we had 193 votes that believe that she had no knowledge of these guns, even though she admitted having knowledge of these guns. But I don't think she had. I think she was distracted. I think her need for drugs were overpowering. So yeah, I already addressed this. So I think that's it. That's all I have for today. Is there anything else? Yeah, that's all I have for today, guys. So right a little, just shortly after 2 hours. I tell you what, I can run the show. Even when I unintentionally. So you guys, it's Tuesday. I'm gonna go get drilled on. All right. So you guys are going to have a much better day than Bullhorn Betty, okay? And if I'm smiling this much and enjoying my morning, each and every one of you guys should be doing it too, because just think about it, right? You could be sitting in a dentist office getting drilled on, right? I'm taking one for the team, okay? I'm taking one for the team. So guys, thank you all for being here for the 2 hours to discuss. We discussed quite a few different cases here this morning. Had an opportunity to look at some videos and just have a good discussion. You know, the Summer Wells stuff is a little bothersome. You know, the whole Dudley situation is a little bothersome. I have to say that, you know, I hope he gets the help he needs. He seemed like a really great guy. And, you know, great people have drug problems too, but they make for terrible, terrible decisions. And I hope he doesn't hurt himself or somebody else while he's in this grip of addiction. And again, Sullivan County is looking for Dudley Ajon. So if you've seen him, please be sure to call and report him. We need to get him off the streets. Unfortunately, he is now on the opposite side of where he was on the Bullhorn Betty channel just one short year ago. Anyways, guys, please don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe and kind to one another. God bless you.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.